Hello, my name is David Titcombe from Mosaic Island Limited. Today I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of using a taxonomy or folksonomy to improve how you manage your files within a SharePoint site. To help me with this, I've created a transformation project site in Office 365 group, and it has multiple document libraries. SharePoint recommends that your libraries have 5,000 or less files within them. So if you are planning to create more than 5,000 files, I would certainly recommend creating multiple document libraries to help you improve how you manage your files. The solution that I will show you today relies on having 5,000 or less files in each of these libraries. So I've created a few test libraries, as I said, and here in the technology library, you can see there's a traditional file structure with multiple subfolders within them and files. There are two schools of thought with SharePoint when it comes to creating document libraries. One is to remove folder structures completely and just have a flat structure and use tagging to help you improve how you manage files. The other is to stick with a traditional file structure, and rather than tagging files individually, you simply put them into subfolders. What I'm going to show you today offers the best of both worlds, as you can maintain your traditional file structure whilst at the same time having a flat structure. So first off, we're going to create a view that has no folders in them. So move up to the All Documents tab here and select Save View As. Now I'm going to call this the No Folder View. Press Save. Once that's created, you click back on No Folder View and edit the current view. I'm going to scroll straight down to the bottom here, and I'm going to select Folders and say Show All Items Without Folders. Now what this does straight away is it gives me all the files within this document library, but without the folders. Now you can imagine if you had a document library of 5,000 files within it, this would take a lot longer to render. So there are things that you can do to restrict the amount of files being viewed on the screen at one time through the item limit. In most cases, it should work absolutely fine. So now that I've created this flat structure for viewing, I then need to think about tagging of these files. Now, there are two approaches. One's with a taxonomy where you have pre-specified terms, and the other is a folksonomy where you allow your end users to start to create terms as they go. First off, I'm going to show you the taxonomy approach. To do this, we need to create a new column in this library, and we also need to create the terms. So we should look at the terms first. If you click on the cog in the top right-hand corner and then go to Site Information and select View or Site Settings, this will take you into the Site Settings list. Within this, there is a Term Store Management option, and this takes you to the SharePoint Online Term Store Management. So this is a global term store management portal for all of your SharePoint. If you have not updated this before, you will find that your term store administrator is empty. You'll need to add someone into this list to administer it. You can add multiple people. At Mosaic Island, we're already using a formal taxonomy. So I'll just show you how this works now. So here's the taxonomy group, and inside this I have a list of Mosaic Island terms broken into two separate subterms. The first is a knowledge-based content category where we have applied some formal terminology across these things. So KB1 is executive propositions, for example, and KB7 is pricing. We've taken the option of prefixing these with a category code, so it enables users to search for them quickly. You could simply have a list of other terms without those in place. So it's up to you how you want to do this best. One's more natural, where you don't need to type code in the first place. The other one, however, will provide you a bit more structure when you're asking your end users to update the keywords tags. So if you click on one of these, you can see that there's an option for switching on and off. This is an available term. You can apply a description. The default label is here, KB1 executive propositions. but you can also add other labels. So if there's other ways of describing executive propositions within your organization, you could add additional ones. When the user searches for those, they will automatically push back to the KB1 executive proposition. There is also an option to merge terms as well, which I'll quickly show you now. So if this is the first time you've been in the term store, I would recommend that you create a new term. You simply right-click on your group root folder here, hit the new term set, and start to create a set of terms. So I should create a test term set. Once that term set has been created, you can click the down arrow and create the individual terms. So term 1. You can add additional labels as you see fit. So I'll save that. I'll do another term, term 2, and then term 3. And you may find that when you create these terms, or these terms are already established, you may want to merge certain terms. So if you go to the term, click the down arrow, and there's a merge term option. I can choose to merge that with this other term if necessary. When I do that, it will add term 2 as another label within here and remove it from the term set. You also have the option to deprecate terms or move them into different groups. So I'm not going to use these terms, but I'll leave them on here now so you can see them. If I now go back to the transformation site, and in this list, I'm going to create a new column. So click the cog, enter in the library, press library settings, go down to here and hit create column. So I'm just going to call it tagging column for now. On the list here, I'm going to select managed metadata. So that refers to the term store. You'll notice here there's a red warning error where it says earlier versions of the client program might not support this type of column. So if you're using older versions of Microsoft Office on your PCs or Macs, you may find there's some difficulty saving files, especially if you require data to be put into this column. So coming on to these other options, you can require that the column contains data. I wouldn't recommend that at this stage, but if you do find that there's a compliance issue with your end users not filling the data in, you could switch that on. I would certainly allow multiple views. Tagging files in multiple ways will improve your searches. And then move down to the term store settings. So if you look at this list, you can see the taxonomy that's for Mosaic Island. Click the down arrow, Mosaic Island terms, as you've seen before. There's the new test term set, which I can then use to enforce what gets put into this column. What I am going to do though instead is I'm going to use the knowledge base content category, and I'm going to move down to the bottom and press OK. So now that's set up, if I go back to this technology document library, you will see there's a field called tag columns. You can tag folders, but you can also tag files themselves. So I'm going to turn on the no folder view. I'm going to do a quick edit. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to appear in the quick edit, so come back to that in a few seconds. Just manually edit one of these now. If you select the file, click the open details pane, you will see in here that there's a tagging column. I can start typing something. So if I type capability model, it doesn't give me an option, and I will not be able to save that option. However, if I type using the terminology that we talked about, so KB, I can see the ones that are available to me. I can also tag here and click the tag button, and it will give me the list of options that are available. Makes it a bit easier. So if I double click on toolkit, but also references, okay. will update. Here, if I just add the tag, show and hide columns, look for the field being added, tagging column, click apply. So we didn't hit the save button. Pricing, marketing, pricing. Saving, there you go. So this is now, this now has those two different term sets, terms added onto this particular file. So that's one thing you can do. What's important now is that you need to switch on a method for searching for these files using the navigation pane on the right hand side. So if you go back up to the cog and hit on site information, and then go to view all site settings, there's an option here called manage site features. If you click on that, if you scroll down to the feature which is called, so find it. Metadata navigation and filtering. If you activate that, okay, now hit that, it says active. If we go back to the transformation site and hit a refresh, you can see if we hit the filter button over here that we can start to filter the types of files we see. So if we set KB2, nothing appears. If I select KB4, it will show me this file. So let's just tag a few more files so we can see how this works on a slightly larger scale. So I've just tagged 3 files for now. Go back to the filter, and tag column filter comes up here, and I can select KB1, it will just show me KB1. I can also select KB10, and it will show me those 2 files. So your term store and the sets you set up can help you navigate to certain files. So if you're running an architectural practice, for example, you could have terms that relate specifically to the artifacts that you create when considering the TOGAF model. So you could have a tag for business capability modeling, for example. So that's the formal taxonomy. To go one step further, you can think about using a folksonomy, which simply allows your staff to enter terms as they go. And I would certainly recommend this as a secondary method for searching. So click on the cog again, and if we go to library settings, there's an option here called enterprise metadata and keyword settings. Click on that and just turn that on. This will add a keyword column to the lists, which I can show you now. So if I go back to technology, you'll see there will be very soon. Click the add column and show and hide columns, enterprise keyword search. Apply that. So that is now visible in here as well. Let me show you the no folder view. You can see these files. I can click here now, edit the content of here, and I can add a keyword. Now, I've got lots of keywords already set up. You can see, but I can also add a new one right now. So I can put a this is a business benefit model. So let's see if we've got something called benefit model. I've got benefit mapping, but I want to call something a benefit model. And that will create that term in the term store. So again, if you go back to the cog, site information, view all site settings, look at the term store, see where this was created. And the idea of a folksonomy is it is created by your own staff, and you shouldn't feel too worried about the folksonomy growing. It is designed in a similar fashion to how the Twitter hashtag function works. So certainly shouldn't worry about people adding to it. So this was our formal taxonomy here. This section under the system root folder will show you all the new ones that are created. So in the keyword section, you'll see a very long list of ones that we've created that help us support our keyword search. There's the one we just created called benefit model. You can see you could make that available or remove it, but I can also do the same thing I showed you earlier on around merging or deprecating that term. Now, these terms can be then used in the SharePoint search. So if you're not using search for all your groups, then this won't be as useful. However, you are able to use this when navigating the folder structure. So I'll show you that now. And if we go for the no folder view and we look at the filter option here, you'll see we've got the tag columns list, but once we start to populate keywords and those keywords, you will see that they appear here too. So let's just add a few more on just for a test. Okay, refresh the library. There you go, the keywords are here as well. So you can show all the ones where they're empty, and you can show all the ones where the word strategy has been included. So the idea of this is that with a flat folder structure, you can start to navigate to the files you want with a combination of a formal taxonomy or the folksonomy, whichever option fits you best. You will need to replicate this across each of your document libraries. So as you look in the data one here, that view has not been applied and that those columns are not added. So you'll need to do that separately for each one. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time today. Goodbye.